Welcome to Childcare Rockstar Radio. I am your host, Chris Murray. Childcare leaders around the globe are breaking through challenges, leading the way in innovation, testing new best practices, and impacting children and families in a much more powerful and positive way than ever before. Each week, join me for interviews with early childhood leaders and experts that will leave you inspired to become the next childcare rockstar. Now, let's go. This is Childcare Rockstar Radio, episode 191, featuring Brenda and Geordie McClay. Happy holidays if you're listening to this real time. We are just a few days away from Christmas, and I hope that you're having an awesome holiday season and feeling very festive. I am Chris Murray, your host of this incredible podcast that has been going on for over 7 years, and we are almost up to episode 200, guys, if you can believe that. It's been an incredible ride. I've had so many amazing guests, and today is one of the best I've done, without a doubt. I love this husband-wife team, Brenda and Geordie. They're amazing and just salt of the earth people who have an incredible program over at Bright Ideas Childcare and Learning Center, and you get to meet them on this episode. So I'm just grateful. My big holiday message for you this year is, diving into your true heart, into what you love. And if you missed that episode, by the way, that was, I think 2 episodes ago, I did a solo episode called What Would You Love? So if you need a little inspiration, motivation for peeling back the layers of your onion, diving in below the sea of your iceberg, into the depths and the core of your heart and what you really want to get out of this life. I want you to juice it up. I want you to lay down what's not serving you and let it go. And as we head to the new year, I hope that you are using this podcast for a little bit of inspiration and also, of course, best practices in the early learning field. And it's been my pleasure to bring this to you every other week, and I'm going to keep going with it. So diving into some really great guests queued up for 2025 and a whole lot more for you as we hit episode 200 and beyond here at Childcare Rockstar Radio. So just thanks so much. Grateful for you to be a listener. And I've received several messages from you guys in the recent weeks telling me somebody's been binge listening to this. Somebody is getting great inspiration from it. Somebody is retiring and going on the next part of her journey, and she's trying to get all the episodes listened to before she fully retires, which I think is amazing. So many people are vibing alongside me, and I don't even know it. That's the coolest part about this podcast, in a way, is being able to reach out to you and have you listen alongside me or view it on YouTube and get some wisdom, some useful strategies and tips, some ideas, some creativity, inspiration, and maybe just some company in this crazy world called early care and education. Okay, well, let's dive in for our last podcast of 2024, Brenda and Geordie. These two are a hoot. You're going to love them, and you're going to learn all about their hiring practices and how they've turned that around and what they do in social media. And Geordie on TikTok and in our men's group of the Academy, and talking about their core values, talking about building a strong culture, talking about partnering with local high schools to find candidates for their future teacher team, and doing basically an apprentice type program with high school students, which I absolutely love so much. And things that they showcase from how they do social media to attract today's top young talent, because that's where our youngsters are hanging out, right? Their eyeballs are on social media. So if you're not there and you haven't been bringing it, this is your inspiration to do so. So without any further ado, actually, I have one housekeeping item I must do before we dive in. And that is to thank a loyal sponsor of this podcast over the years has been Brightwheel. So shout out to you, Brightwheel. You are awesome. And thank you for sponsoring this episode of Childcare Rockstar Radio. Running a childcare business is hard enough, guys, and managing it shouldn't be. So meet Brightwheel, the #1 platform built for childcare centers like yours. From attendance tracking to billing and parent communication, Brightwheel simplifies your day-to-day, saving you 5 or more hours of admin work every week Brightwheel helps you spend less time behind a desk so you can focus on what matters most. Join thousands of happy childcare owners who trust Brightwheel to save them time and grow their business. Visit info.mybrightwheel.com/CCSS to sign up for a demo today. And again, that's info.mybrightwheel.com/CCSS. S is like Sam. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Let's meet Brenda and Geordie McClay here on Childcare Rockstar Radio. Let's go. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited today to introduce you to my guests here on the podcast, Brenda and Geordie McClay. How are you two doing today?
Great.
Doing outstanding. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. We love the McClays. For those of you that were at the summit, you got to see them on stage during our success panel and wanted to bring them here to you on the podcast. So where are you guys right now? Where are you located? Or where are you sitting?
We are in our home office that we have just begun creating. So it was our son's bedroom, and he is going to school in Florida right now. So we've kind of taken over a little bit and little by little making it an office.
Nice. Love that. Love that. Tell us about your program. What is the name of your school and how many locations, and just a little bit more of the ins and outs of the particulars of your program.
We have 2 locations. The name of it is Bright Ideas Childcare. They are both located in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Our first school we opened in 2009, and the second one we opened in 2020. So the first school in 2009 is licensed for 32 children. And then all during COVID, we were able to open in August of 2020. We thought we would open it in March or April of 2020, but everything was put on hold. So that second location was delayed a little bit. And we are now licensed for 90 children at that second location.
Okay, cool. How did you get into the wonderful field of early childhood education?
So I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher. I thought that I wanted to be an elementary school teacher. But once we started our family, I started a home daycare so that I could be home with our children. And it just kind of grew from there. I had worked at a couple of schools as we moved. We were both in the Coast Guard. And actually at that time I had gotten out and Geordie was still in. So we were traveling with him and worked at a couple of schools, and then opened a home daycare in our larger home that we had with 10 children. And then after 10 years, moved on to the first center. Thought that was my dream. I thought that having a center was the big dream, and I had achieved it. So, and I guess when I joined the academy, I realized that I could dream bigger than that. So.
Right. And when did you guys join the academy?
So I started with the Chris Murray Insiders Club.
All right.
I think that was about 2017. And that was my first introduction. I went through listened to all the past phone calls and everything that I could get my hands on, and wanted to go to the summit. We went to the summit in 2018, my daughter and I, and we were sold. We were in. But when I called home to Geordie, he said, no, we're not doing that. That's too much. We're not doing that. So that was October of 2018. And then in December of 2018, I did a discovery call and just a coaching call, and I signed up. So officially from December 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And without me knowing.
Right. She snuck it past you.
Yeah.
Geordie, how long have you been working at Brenda's side, helping her? And how did you get into this role?
So I was an active duty Coast Guard for 28 years. I worked in a high school for 10, well, actually 12, 10 as the athletic director. But I always there to support, mostly in the maintenance side, weekends, whatever that was. But I never was actually involved with the daycare. And I retired this past June from everything and just kind of dove into to help out in a bunch of different ways, mostly trying to bring in, my background with leadership and my degree is in business management, even though I didn't really use that in the Coast Guard, but I used it as an athletic director. So really the the last few months have been dedicated to helping out and, trying to help out with expansion and those kind of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you're also kind of with the leadership component, you're helping with the culture of the schools. Is that one of your loves or your unique brilliances?
Yeah, I would not use the word brilliance, but one of the things that is my passion is absolutely leadership. Is one of the things I really loved about the Coast Guard, and being in charge. And I was an officer in charge of a bunch of different units, and I love that aspect. I love watching people grow and do those kind of things, and really work hard at putting a leadership program together similar to what we were doing in the Coast Guard, but not as militant, I guess would be the word. And so my passion is with helping out our staff, and even before when I was in the Coast Guard, we were putting together workshops and those kind of things well before I was actually officially helping out. And now we've taken it to the next level, doing a lot of the work on culture. And I know Brenda will talk a little bit about, kind of our struggles with, hiring and those things, and that's on the upside. But I do think that's part of what we're doing for our culture and bringing in the right people to help us to do better.
Yeah. So we're going to dive into culture and hiring today. I want to ask you guys, what is home life like for you? You mentioned that you have kids. So how old are your kids? Are they up and out? And what are you guys doing on the home side to keep yourselves having fun?
So we have 6 children. The oldest is 33 and the youngest is 17.
Okay.
So we technically still have 2 at home.
Okay.
We have 3 that are often married, and we have 1 that's away at college that we took over his bedroom.
Okay.
Sorry, Zach. And we have 4 grandchildren.
Well, congrats. That's exciting. I love that for you. That's amazing. 6 kids. That's a lot. And that's just such a abundant and amazing family. What is a fun fact about both of you that you can share? That's something that not that many people know about you.
Well, I think we talked about it before, that we were going to kind of use the military part of it, that's how we met. We were both in the Coast Guard.
Okay.
And I got out when we started to have our family, but he retired from the Coast Guard. And something that was not really expected for us, but 3 of our children have since joined the Coast Guard.
Wow.
And it wasn't something that, we encouraged or pushed.
Right.
It was just their choice. So we currently have 2 that are in the Coast Guard. Our youngest is 17. He's still in high school, but he's in the Coast Guard Reserves right now. So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. So half of our children followed in our footsteps.
Right.
So.
That's super cool. Well, thank you all for your service. That is an amazing contribution from the McClay family. So thank you so much. That's very, very cool. Did you guys have a Coast Guard oriented wedding? Did you get married on a ship or anything like that? Or
no? Well, it
was oriented because we had
to do it all around the service. So when we got married, I was going to school in California and he was in Massachusetts. So I was at a school for 6 months in Petaluma, California. And we had a Christmas break. We had a 2-week break at Christmas. So I flew home. My dad lives in Maine. So we drove to Maine. We got married at my dad's house. And a week later, I was back in Petaluma for the next 3 months. So yeah, it was a short, small, little at-home wedding. And we both went back to work for the next 3 months. And then we got to live together after that. So
right.
And part of that reason is in order for the Coast Guard to assign us together, we were talking about getting married in May. They said, well, unless you're actually married, it's not gonna happen. So he said, well, let's go for it. And next thing you know, we're in Skowhegan, Maine, getting married. So
nice.
We pulled off a wedding in a couple of weeks.
Right.
Coming up on, I don't know, we have to do some math 34. There, but 34 years.
Yeah, 34.
Right.
Next month. So
okay.
Yes, it worked.
That's awesome. That's a great.
The jury's still out.
I would say that is a amazing success story. So I love it, and 6 kids. So I love it so much. Let's talk about the culture and your hiring at Bright Ideas in your program. So I want to dive into some of the hurdles that you faced with hiring and how you are starting to feel like you're coming out the other side of this long drought that we've had in ECE hiring. So just talk a little bit about, since COVID, what are some of the challenges that you faced, and what were a little bit of the, paint the picture of some of the dark days of trying to come out of that, and what you're doing to try to turn the ship around with regard to hiring.
So it has, and I think that early childcare, we've always kind of had struggles with finding good quality people, but I think
Yes.
over the last couple of years, it has been amplified. And even coming out of, just after COVID, sometimes people wanted to get back into the field, but then that winter hit, and then they got nervous, and then they decided to nanny. So we did have a little bit of an ebb and flow there with staff coming in and out. We have worked hard to pour into our staff and show them that we care about them and their contribution. Without them, we couldn't do it. We've tried lots of different recruiting things. We've hired a recruiter, we've done paid ads, we've done Facebook ads, done Indeed, I've tried Monster, we've tried lots of different things. I've found that the more we showcase the fun things that we're doing, the more successful we are in finding a good match for us. And oftentimes it's a teacher that has a friend that would like to work. They hear about us and they're not happy where they're at, and they know that their friend is happy, so they're willing to try that, and it usually works out amazingly. We have a growth mindset, so I that's important when I'm talking to any applicants, that I want them to have that growth mindset as well, and I want them to know that we're there to support them. So many times I hear of a teacher that is hired and then they're thrown right into the classroom. We try to give them a good orientation and onboarding, and not leave them on their own until they feel ready, and that we feel that they're ready. So I think that showing the fun things that we're doing and having my staff maybe invite people that they feel like would be a good fit has really helped. We also partner with our local high school. We have two in our town, and then one just outside of our town. So we partner with them, and we have co-op students that come from two of those high schools. And that gives them a good opportunity to see what it's like. We work towards getting them qualified so that when they graduate high school, they can have an infant, toddler, and a preschool teacher qualification. And, they know before they've graduated that if this is something that they would like to pursue. And that has definitely helped with staff as well, because they'll stay with us for a few years after. We partner with the local co-op school, and right now they have their sophomores will come into our program, and they usually bring 10 students every other week for a couple of days a week, and they get to go into all of the classrooms, and
cool.
They get to play with the children, read stories, run around on the playground. And so even before they're able to do co-op, they can see what that experience is like.
Right.
So that's helped also. And I think it's important for us to get our high school students and young adults excited about the field.
Yes.
Because it's an amazing field. And I think that the more people that want to do it and see what it really is, it's not easy work, but the pros far outweigh the
Yes.
we have. So
yeah.
Getting our young people in the doors to see what's going on.
Yeah, I love that strategy. We've talked a lot about trying to create apprentice programs or getting into colleges and high schools and doing exactly what you're doing, and you're making it happen. So I love that. I love this. Talk a little bit about with the social media. You mentioned before we hit the record button that you're more intentional in your social media to put out the fun things that you're doing out there on social. Have you expanded into TikTok, or are you mostly focused on Instagram and Facebook, and what's working for you in that arena? Do you have somebody on your team that kind of handles that for you? Just talk more about that.
So one of our daughters handles that. And
okay.
Yes, they are playing around with TikTok, and I let them handle that. That's not
they get me involved every once in a while.
Yeah.
Not my thing.
Yeah, I bet you're pretty funny, Geordie, on your
I'm funny. All
TikToks.
right.
I got to go check that out for sure. I want to see that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
your daughter's handling that. Go ahead.
Yep. And I do what she says. When she asks me to participate in one of them, then I do it.
Right.
And the teachers are having fun with it, and people can see that they're having fun with it. So
Yeah.
whether it makes sense to me or not doesn't really matter, I guess,
Right.
as long as they're enjoying it. So
Yes.
and it just makes them all laugh, even when they're making the videos. We'll go around and I'll ask, do you want to be in a TikTok? And all the young people are like, oh, yeah, yeah. And it doesn't even matter what it is. And some of the more seasoned teachers are like, I'm good. So, but they can choose whether they want to participate in it or not. And
Yeah.
we've done some funny ones.
I think
Yeah.
too, with the TikTok and the things that maybe we don't quite understand, get the Facebook people. But I think it helps with our culture too, because they're working together. They enjoy it. I laugh at every time I watch one of them, even if I'm not in it and they don't suck one of us into doing it.
Right.
You can see that they're genuine about what they're doing. And that's just one of those things that's worked in our favor for a culture. I mean, yes, we're still doing the Facebook things and we have Instagram, but the TikTok, for whatever reason, I just think builds a camaraderie in amongst our staff that I haven't seen before. It's actually kind of cool to watch.
Yeah. It's a win-win. I mean, if it's getting to the eyeballs of people that could potentially be new teacher hires for you, and it's cementing and, making stronger your existing culture and camaraderie, then it's definitely a win-win. I'm doing it too, which you guys might have seen. So many people have come up to me and said, oh my God, your social media is so amazing. And I have somebody who's 22 or 23. A shout out to Cam Connor. She's my social media manager, but I'm the same way as you guys. She'll just tell me I want you to film this or say this, or I'm going to film you saying a bunch of Gen Z phrases. And I have no idea, even what I'm saying. I'm like, what does this mean? I just do it. It. So I do as I'm told.
Yep.
We saw that at the, the summit with just
hot to go.
I'm like, what in God's good world is this? And it just goes back to what we're talking about. I mean, it's building bridges and maybe things that we don't understand, but support.
Well,
yes.
We were in Nashville a couple of weeks ago, and they have those little bikes that they ride around on. And Hot to Go was playing on all of them. And I asked him, should we just break out into the moves? And we didn't, but that brought us right to the summit. So we, brought us back to childcare.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. And then with regard to your teachers bringing referrals in, do you have some kind of a referral reward for them? Talk more about that.
We do. So after the first 3 months, they each get a bonus. After 6 months, they each get a bonus. And then after a year, they each get a bonus.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. So that helps with retention of new staff.
Yes.
Which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that, Brenda mentioned it, and I think it's important, is that mother, daughter, sisters. I mean, there's so many,
we do have a lot of family connections at our school. I mean, our two daughters work there, and our grandchildren have been there, but we have a mother-daughter team. We have a sister team. We have a mother and her mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, aunt. And we have so many connections of different family connections amongst our staff. And it's always only been positive. There's no friction with any of it. And families like that, they appreciate that, we're family oriented, that we get it. I now have a mom. So her son comes to us. He came to my preschool when it was in my home. And we have a teacher that was one of my preschoolers. And she's an assistant. She's in high school. But it's now all coming full circle with that.
Yeah.
So that family aspect of it is it's important.
Yes, I love that, and I do, believe in also showcasing that on the walls of your school, telling that story. It helps with enrollment. It helps with the fabric of making it a true family feel. when you talk about those stories and show the baby picture of the gal who's now the mom.
I just sent her pictures this past week that I was going through old pictures, and I sent them to her, and it was pretty cool that I came across her of all the pictures that we have. So
yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And Geordie, you've been, working alongside Brenda now for sounds like 6 to 9 months ish. I wanted to ask you about the men's group because I know that you guys are having fun over there in the Academy men's group.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about your experience in there and what you've learned, what you enjoy about being and part of a kind of a little subgroup in the Academy with the guys.
I was told I couldn't talk about that.
It's a secret.
The men's group stays in the men's. Actually, the men's group, and we talked a little bit about it at the summit as well. But it is a unique part of, for me, going to the summits and the masterminds and not really knowing what my role was going to be, and finding that there were other men just like me that maybe didn't have a mission or didn't understand what was going on with everything. And that was several years ago. And it just kind of built with, we met different people and we take pictures when we got together. We started texting and email and stuff. And then that just kind of built into this, this whole network of men who have different roles in the organization. Some are husbands who are supporting their, wives, business. Some are kind of in the business like I was. Some are now partners. And this group, and Ben has been great, and Solomon and Jacob, and the guys are all together answering each other as questions and just kind of getting up to speed where, one of the things is I don't know the child care business. I mean, I know of it. I've been around it. I can make a lot of good guesses, but the real brains of the operation are sitting next to me. And it's like, drinking from a fire hose on some days of just trying to get all the knowledge. The men's group has been like-minded people, and that's not discounting anybody else, but just like-minded people in the sense of the experiences and different things. The Facebook page has been great with some working some quotes and some different things, but also we had our first, meeting, obviously a Zoom meeting, and there were 19 of us on, and it was awesome. I walked away from that saying, "This is what it's all about." And I know that the group of guys that have been put into this have really put a lot of time and effort into it, and I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, cool. I love it too. And I love that we're, making it more of a formalized thing where you guys can meet and share, and it's growing and it's getting, just more and more impact. And I love it so much. So that, because I do feel that there's, a lot of gentlemen in our group but it's definitely still more of a ladies industry dominated by women, of course. And then having the guys be able to get more focus and more time and, go deeper with it, I think is amazing. So thanks for sharing that. I want to ask Brenda what transformations you feel you've experienced as a leader or a business owner, like over the last decade. How have you become more confident, or what transformation do you feel? Maybe you've had some this growth mindset piece, but just talk a little bit more about how you approach your life as a childcare owner, and how you approach your team that maybe is different, and how you've grown over the last several years.
So I, from the beginning, always felt like I was on my own. I was always recreating the wheel, trying to make it work for me, and never really felt like I was just going through the days, getting it done and enjoying what I was doing, and wouldn't choose to do anything else. But I never really had like a direction or any guidance or support. So I feel like I was just getting it done on that hamster wheel every day, just going. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm still like that, but it's getting better. And I've definitely gotten more confident. Some of the goals that I have now set, I feel are attainable, where before it was just a dream. And I think that the Academy has helped me do that, because I always felt like I was on my own. I've always tried to network with other programs and always got shut down. Nobody wanted to talk. They always pretended like everything was amazing, and that was it. And I think as a community, we need to be together, whether we're in the same town or the same state, or
Yeah.
like, we should all be here for the children.
Yes.
I've grown because of the academy and gotten a little bit more confident in speaking my mind and knowing that I can do more than just the day-to-day thing.
hmm
And
Awesome. Well,
I
go
would
ahead.
back that up too. And I've seen that transformation, from when we were home daycare to opening in one building, opening the second, and I wouldn't use the hamster wheel because she works hard, but she would be doing a lot of stuff on the the regular day would be going on, but she'd be going in early in the morning. Not that she doesn't still do that and staying later, but you could see more benefits in focus out of what she was doing. And it's been pretty awesome to watch. And it's what she's saying is 100% true. Even
Yeah.
though I was against the academy in the beginning, it was the best thing she ever did for her business, and that's not
Uh,
a part. That is just what has made the McClays successful. So to all you naysayers out there, you might want to take a look.
well, I thank you.
I've always felt that if it was going to get done, I had to do it. There was nobody else that was going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's always been on me to get it done. So I've learned that I can delegate things and other people can do it, and they will actually do a better job than me. So I
Right.
mean, even using the social media as an example,
Mhm.
that would be something that would be weighing on me, that I need to do this. I have to post that. I have to learn how to use this. And finding somebody that's good at that, I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Right.
So I just have given her the autonomy to be able to do it. So I'm still learning there. I have to
Yes.
find the people that want to do the jobs that I'm not good at or don't have
Mhm.
time for. And my daughter Sam is doing a good job of pushing me out a little bit. So she has encouraged me to have this new office so that she can take over my office.
Right.
Um, and I have her as a director at one of our schools and another director, Dan, and they're both ready to take on everything. But I still find myself there almost every day. So it can be done. I just have to
Yeah.
delegate a little bit more, and I do have the faith in them. I just have a hard time separating it. It's my baby. So
Yeah, I completely agree with you guys. And that is such a common entrepreneurial journey and one that I also lived. I was definitely the bottleneck of my business earlier days and feeling like I had to do everything. And the only way to grow and the only way to scale the business and being able to impact more people and more children is to figure out where you're the bottleneck and start replacing yourself in the areas that are not your unique brilliance, and that's like the first thing that we teach in the academy. And so I love that you shared that, because if somebody's listening to this podcast episode right now and they're feeling completely overwhelmed because they don't know how to let go of all of the things that they're juggling and that they are the bottleneck, then hopefully it can reach them and you can start looking at delegating and finding that just that first person, that first assistant, that part-time helper, and diving into that and just baby stepping into it. That's the first thing I did was I just hired somebody part-time. I think she was working 10 hours a week and 10 to 15 hours a week. I hired Camille and just started like delegating. And then I was like, oh my God, this feels amazing. Let me keep going. So thanks for sharing that. So I want to ask you about being in this partnership together, and how do you feel, like where are you headed together as a partnership? Do you feel your current roles are pretty much set up well, or is there some growth there that you're working on as you continue? Now that you're in this home office, maybe Geordie's taking on some different pieces or parts. Just like, how's it going working as a husband-wife team? What have you learned, or what would you like to share about it?
we're still navigating that. I think he keeps me on track to look to the future and look to the growth and and those positive changes that we can make, whereas I still get caught up in that day-to-day stuff. So he's doing a really good job of, keeping me looking forward.
Well, and I would just say that, my role in it's difficult because she's so passionate about what she does. I mean, she's awesome at what she does, and I never want to take any of that away. So I almost feel it at times when I'm saying, you need to do this, you need to stay home and kind of do that. But I just think it's a benefit. Like I love the term bottleneck that you just used, because I think that's kind of where we're at. Like we need to open that up, let some people shine, which we want that, but it's tough to let go. And then finding my role, obviously, I gave you a little bit of my background, but I think the leadership and the culture and working some of the finances and just kind of looking at building that third school and those opportunities where I come in, helping out, making sure maintenance is scheduled, not doing it anymore, but making sure that's scheduled and actually looking forward to, and I know this is the, retirement, but, where are we going to be in 10 years? Not talking that we're retiring soon, but, just kind of working. So those roles are still being established, but I think those lanes are starting to come together for us.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. You mentioned before we started the recording that everything that you do is for your team, that you want your team to know how much you love them, that it's for the children, that your heart is in this for wanting to make a difference for children and for teachers. And so is there anything that you would like to share with regard to, how you feel about your team or how you feel about the families you serve, or talk a little bit about your community? I just wanted to give you the chance to put a message out there to the world with regard to, just how you feel about this beautiful thing that you built.
Well, I'm very appreciative to all of our families. We have amazing families and we have an amazing staff. We don't have all the answers, and that's okay. We are growing and learning every day, and as long as we are open to that, then it'll be okay. We're there to support each other. Our core values spell out the word team, so a team is important to me, and I want all of my staff to be supported. We try to find ways to show our appreciation, but then also to let them know that I'm not going to leave them hanging. If they're having a hard time dealing with difficult behaviors and things like that, I will be in that classroom. I will be there to support them and to follow their lead also, not to take over, but to be there to support them. We partner with our public preschool, and they have a special ed team. Instead of having children go from our school over to the public preschool, we have a team of educators that come to us, and they work in our preschool classrooms, and they are working with the children in small groups, in large groups, and then one-on-one so that's all of the children, and then one-on-one with any of those children that might need a little extra help with speech or anything, that they would get those services at the public preschool. But they're also there to support my teachers. So they're in the classroom helping with those behaviors, creating behavior plans. They'll do trainings for us. We just need to what trainings we want, and they want to hear from us and what we need. So that partnership has been amazing. Extra support for my teachers.
Yes.
Not only is it me and my team supporting them, but we also have the public preschool there to support them as well.
Wow.
And I mean, even we have early intervention that might come into some of our classrooms. We partner very well with them. We have open door policy that, they can share information and be there to help the teachers learn more. And the more that they're learning, it's not just for that one child. It's for all of the children. We've learned little things, the importance of a broken crayon, which I never knew. We had the occupational therapist come in, and she said, "I brought crayons for you." And she showed me a box of broken crayons. And I thought, why is she giving me broken crayons? We have crayons. But it helps with the children's grasp to write with a pencil. If it's a broken crayon, it forces them to hold the pencil correctly. And so now we work with broken crayons. and the teachers, what I told her was, my teachers need to know why. You can't
Yes.
just say, here's broken crayon.
Right.
Knowing the why behind what we're doing, and then that gets their buy-in a little bit more. So
Yeah.
for them to know that we love them, appreciate them, and I'm there to support them with whatever it is that they need. And
Yeah.
sometimes that support might be encouraging them to do something else, which might break my heart. But
Right.
if they want to go off to school, they want to follow a different path, that's okay. I'm there to support them.
Yep. Support can take many, many different, flavors. There can be things that might not actually look like support that are supportive.
Mhm.
So I think that's a really important thing to note as well, that it's not always supportive for somebody to stay in a specific classroom or even in ECE, to your point. So I think sometimes things that are viewed as negative are actually supportive if you look at it from a different lens. So thanks for sharing that. And I love all of this supportive help that you have, from the high schoolers to the early interventionists to the public preschool people. I mean, all of that is just so great for teacher retention and helping them feel like they're not alone, and that also they're not going to burn out. Like you're helping with all of these layers of burnout and preventing that from happening in the classroom. So that's very, very cool. Love it. And I'm sure people that are listening to this episode are writing things down as fast as they can, if they're not driving, listening to the
Well,
podcast.
I think what goes to there with that, when you're talking about just the, our employees, or our, the people that are working with us, the culture that we talked about before, just bringing in different things, like we talked about earlier with, we're an energy bus for schools, which
Oh,
is,
yeah.
yeah, it's cool for not only our students and our families are getting, a lot of positive energy, but you're also, focusing on our employees and bringing in new things that help them out to understand that, to your point about sometimes, that positivity that we're bringing in is actually kind of brings out, well, I don't want to be this positive. You people are way too positive for me. They're generally maybe have a negative attitude towards things, and you have to change. And that comes back to, well, is this the right place for me? And being, so supportive, Brenda being so supportive of the staff, and just trying to make sure that, that there's a positive energy.
Yeah. Well, talk a little bit to mention that, because we also talked about that before we hit the record. So you're working with John Gordon, you're an energy bus school. And so talk a little bit about that program and how that's benefited you so far. Like, and what does it mean to be an energy bus school?
So an energy bus school is, we are under their umbrella, I guess you would say, and it's about positivity, bringing in positivity into the school and teaching those items that help not only the students, or the children, but our staff and directors and owners and everybody else, and just bringing in a positive attitude. For those of you who are not familiar with John Gordon, he wrote a book called The Energy Bus, which is about a person who wasn't generally positive, and turned it around. And they've now put that into Dr. Jim Van Allen, who runs the program. They sponsor schools, and we run all of their programs through. Well, we're trying to run all of their programs through. But one of the cool things that we're doing for daycare is, for childcare, is, it hasn't been it hasn't put it exactly into play as more preschool and up, and we're actually working on the curriculum for childcare, because how are we teaching positivity to an infant?
Right.
And those kind of things. But it's been a learning curve for us in the beginning. We thought we were going to kind of hit the ground running, but we ended up having to basically talk with the Energy Bus for School and say, we need to do a little bit more for the younger folk in our
Ages.
schools.
Uh-huh.
And we're rewriting that. Brenda's been doing a great job with that. We have our Energy Bus staff that's helping us out at the school. They volunteer, and they're going to help us write all this curriculum that will benefit the students. Or I use the word students because I worked in high school for so long, but
Right.
our kids
Yep.
are in the school. But right now we're really focusing on that culture piece with the positivity with our staff. And
Cool.
we've done some workshops with them, and we're going to continue with those throughout the year. So it's been something that it's been pretty cool. I was in a restaurant having breakfast, and one of her employees walks in, and I'm having a little meeting about something different, and she walks by and she goes, "I'm a team player. I'm going to get my coworker a coffee. Energy buzz." And I was just like, that meant the world to me, that person walked by and was looking at that in such a positive light. Of course, the guy I'm having breakfast goes, "What's the energy buzz?"
Well, that's fantastic. No, I love that. We've had several people recommend that book on the podcast, and a lot of our coaches are also using the components from that book. So Energy Bus, for sure. If you guys haven't read it, pick up a copy of that. That's awesome. Well, we're to a close here on the podcast. This has been an incredible episode. How can people learn more about your program? If you want to give your website or Facebook pages or whatever you want to promote, so that people can find you and learn more.
We're just breadideaschildcare.net, our website, and Facebook. I don't do that. I don't know.
Bright Ideas Child.
We have a Bright Ideas Childcare and a Bright Ideas Childcare Camelot, I believe. We have two Facebook groups, and I'm not exactly sure how you get to that, but if you search Bright Ideas Childcare, come up.
Cool. Cool. I love it. You're delegating that. That's fantastic. Look at you. Look at you. Any other final thoughts that you'd like to share with the audience before we say goodbye? And Brenda and Geordie, you've been amazing today. I've loved this episode very much.
I just say thank you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to do this. Another thing, stepping outside of my comfort zone, and I didn't die. So
I would just say, Chris, thank you so much. I mean, our story about, my kind of pushback, and it's been an amazing journey, and I really, really do appreciate everything you do for us. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for being here with us today and taking the time and sharing all of the beauty that you have going on in your classrooms and in your school and where you're headed. And I love it. So Brenda and Geordie McClay, Bright Ideas Childcare, thank you so much. And thanks to everybody for tuning in again to Childcare Rockstar Radio. And we'll see you next time. And take care and God bless. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Chris.
I hope you liked this episode of Childcare Rockstar Radio. If you did, please leave a review and share it with someone you know to help spread the word to friends in our industry and on social media. Childcare business success is my passion, and I'm honored to be on this journey with you. As a thank you for listening, I've got a new video training that shows you how to add 6 figures or more of new revenue to your program in the next 60 days by improving your hiring and your enrollment systems. To watch my new video, just go to www.fixmyschool.com. That's fixmyschool.com. Thanks. Take care and God bless.